Hello everyone, today I'll be showing you a breakdown of the pattern drafting process of this dress. Here is what the version I made looks like. Ignore the creases as I wasn't done ironing at this point. I'll be working with this basic pattern for this tutorial. So I'll be starting with the neckline. So I'll go in by 1 inch from the basic neckline and I'll connect that to my armhole line. Kindly note that this is not the standard, so you can go ahead to make your V neckline as high or as low as you want it. The next step will be to tighten my neckline just to avoid any gaping around the neckline. And in order to do this, I will mark out my underbust line. And I'll go ahead to just label the line so I don't get confused as I go. The next thing to do is to determine the bust radius. The bust radius I'm working with is 4 inches. So from the bust point, as you can see, I'll make a semicircle marking 4 inches around. Ensure that your tape is always at the bust point, so you mark your whatever your bust radius is from the bust point. So here I'm just trying to connect the dotted line together because I do not have the tool to make a semicircle at once. Yeah, I hope you get what I'm saying. Then we need to determine the midpoint of our neckline. And that is what I am doing here. I'm trying to measure around my neckline so I can determine where the midpoint is. Then I'll go ahead to mark that. Then I'll connect that midpoint back to my bust point. Yes, I'll make a line like you can see. Then to the left of your pattern, if you're using a half scale pattern like myself, you go ahead to measure half an inch on your semicircle. I hope you can see what I am doing. So from the half-inch mark, you make a line connecting the midpoint of your neckline and also the bust point. And it should have something like this. The next step is to cut open my waist dart. This will allow me to tighten my neckline. So when you cut, ensure that you stop cutting at your bust point. You also go ahead to cut the line that runs, the straight line that runs from the mid neckline to the bust point. Try to cut as close as to the bust point, but not cut out completely. I hope you understand what I'm saying, trying to say. Let's now close our neckline. What we're trying to basically do here is to flip the side of your neckline that you cut to match the 0.5-inch mark we made earlier. They should both align at the semicircle. Just try to follow what I'm doing and I hope you get it. Then I will seal that with a tape at the back of the pattern. You can take it back a little if it gets confusing at any point. At this point, we've been able to successfully tighten our neckline. What we need to do next is to redraw our neckline. And that's just basically reconnecting the 2 points of your initial neckline together like so. For a V neckline, it's nicer to have the line a little curvy, not just all the way straight. So with the help of this curved ruler, I'll make a slightly curved line here. As you can see, the line is just slightly curved, so don't make it a deep curve, just slightly curved and you're good to go. The next step is to make a princess seam because the dress I'm working with has a princess seam running down to the waistline. So from the across chest line, I will mark 1 inch upward and connect that to my bust point. I wasn't exactly impressed by what the princess seam looked like. It was rather too straight. I wanted a little more curved, so I went ahead to redraw the line. So it's okay if you're not fine with what your first try looks like. You can always adjust that. And at this point, I am okay with what the princess seams look like here. We need to also do a tightening around the princess seam, else there will be a gaping issue. So you mark down 1 inch from your princess seam line, then you connect that back to the bust point. So you should have something like this. The next step is to measure the two lines at the princess seam area. One will definitely be longer than the other. So you measure the two lines. After noting the difference, we'll use this to extend the shorter line. You add extra paper to your armhole so that we can make up for the short line. In my own case, the first princess seam was longer than the second one by 1 inch. So I'll go ahead to extend this line by 1 inch. After making my 1 inch mark, I'll connect that point to the armhole with my armhole curve. Then I'll go ahead to cut that out so I can show you what my new armhole looks like. So your new armhole should look like this. So the dress has a little cut at the waistline, so I'll go ahead to construct that. So from your dart line, you will measure 1 inch. Yes, as you can see, you measure 1 inch. Then with your curved ruler, you connect that back to your waistline. And what I'm basically doing here is to extend that curve line to my sewing allowance. And we are basically done, so I'll go ahead to cut out the parts I do not need. And at this point, I thought to add an underbust tightening, and that is what I am about to do here. And at the underbust line, I will make an 1/2 inch mark from the dart leg like so. Then I'll connect this new 0.5 inch mark to my dart leg with a curved ruler. Then I'll go ahead to connect that 0.5 inch mark to my waistline. Then I'll go ahead to cut out all the parts I do not need from this pattern. One thing left to do is to close my side bust dart. So I'm extending the second line of my dart to the bust point. This will help me to conveniently close the dart without any stress on the pattern. Here I'm just going ahead to eliminate the pointy edge after closing my side dart. In the next video, I will show you how I went about the skirt pattern. The back pattern I use is just the basic back body, so there was no need for a separate video. Do let me know if you have any question in the comment section. Thank you for watching. Bye.